What is up, guys? It's your favorite transparent YouTuber, Transparent Hoodie, back at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh tip video. And from the title, guys, I'm not going to just make this a generic video about what's the best deck to use. What I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to layer this video. So I'm going to give you three different options. So option number one, or just tip number one, I'm going to pretty much give you deck ideas for these three different things. So, a grinding deck, a deck that you can use to grind, a deck that you can use for your starter deck, the first deck that you use in the game, and a deck that you could use for just online play and rank matches. So I'm going to break down this video for the three basic decks or starter decks for those three categories. And again, guys, please let me know your thoughts. But pretty much these three deck types are definitely going to help you when you're starting off playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If this is just your first time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, or this is just your first time getting into Link Evolution or any online Yu-Gi-Oh! Environment. So, first things first, I feel like the first and the easiest thing that we can actually start on with is definitely going to be the grinding deck. The best grinding deck that you could possibly use in this game, to me personally, is going to be Exodia. So Exodia is the easiest deck to build, is the fastest deck to build. Pretty much all you really need to do is, as long as you have to get at least some sort of battle points or start getting some type of cards within the game. Once you do the original Yu-Gi-Oh campaign, all you have to do is get yourself up to Seeker, constantly dual Seeker, because I already have his deck profile, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So you go to the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. Let's go to S for Seeker. Seeker deck profile for the most part is all Exodia cards and some draw power. As you play the game more and more, you'll get more cards that you could support for the Exodia deck so that you could draw into Exodia a little bit faster. But yeah, I feel like Exodia is the best throwaway deck. Yes, a lot of the cards is forbidden and banned, but that doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to the offline play of the game. You can use as much banned cards or forbidden cards as you want. Don't matter. So Exodia is a really good deck. Granted, though, it's not the one and only good deck that you can use for grinding out and just beating out opponents. I'll make the argument. I don't have a deck profile for it right now, but I will definitely make the argument that a deck along the line. Oh no, we gotta go here. Light Sorns is actually a really good deck that you guys can look into. Light Sorns to me is a very, very, very powerful deck. So as soon as you get Judgment Dragon comes with a very nice and convenient effect of wiping out the board. On top of, like, Light Sorns pretty much plays itself. And that's the number one advice I really do want to give you guys, is if you have a sustainable deck that pretty much auto plays itself in a sense, that would be the best deck you want to use for your grinding sessions. Like Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragons can pretty much OTK whatever turn it goes. It doesn't matter if it's turn 1 or turn 2. Light Sorns, you get Judgment Dragon, you pretty much put your opponent in the situation where they can't do anything. On top of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes White Dragon is the most familiar and the most easiest deck to kind of grind online with. Some of the combo plays might need you to take, practice a little bit with it, take some time and probably just grind out some training sessions to get yourself familiar with some of the combos. But Blue Eyes is another really good deck. Other good decks that gives you really good control and you really don't have to think too much about what you do and how you go about playing it. I would also kind of throw in there Odd Eyes Pendulums. Odd Eye Pendulums is a really decent deck, kind of similar to Blue Eyes, where you kind of have to still think about the plays that you do because it's very, very, very easy for you to mess up with that deck. But that deck is a very, very powerful deck as well that you could just grind it through. Also, some of the decks I do mention for grinding could also be mirrored over to use for competitive, so you want to take that into consideration too. But yeah, whatever deck gives you that dominating power over the CPU, because the CPU in this game, I genuinely feel like the CPU in the CPU in Legacy of the Duelist Original was a little bit more aggressive compared to like Link Evolution. Oh, also Abyss Actors is a really good deck as well to kind of use and throw out there just for grinding sessions as well. So there's that deck as well. So yeah. Another thing too. So guys, I already talked about the grinding deck. I feel like, again, the easiest deck to make will definitely be Exodia, because getting the cards, farming the cards for an Exodia deck is pretty easy. On top of Seeker pretty much builds the formula for Exodia. Depending on your build of Exodia as well, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You might lose a couple of times, all because you have an Exodia deck doesn't always mean you'll win. Sometimes when you're dueling certain CPU decks, they're fast enough where they can kind of beat you out before you can get out your Exodia. So if anything, don't worry. I will probably give you a ratio like this. For the most part, you will always, if you lose your first duel, it would either take your first or third duel to win. I don't know how consistent that would be for everybody, but when I used my Exodia deck, when it wasn't even compact with all these different cards I was able to add as I played, when I lost, it only took me my second or third try. After my third try, I usually gotten the W, or I've gotten the win. Like, it never took more than 3 tries for any one duelist for me to beat them eventually. So if those are ratios and odds that you like, and you're just frustrated and tired of constantly dueling an opponent, and you're just not able to either grind out whatever deck you want, or you're not able to grind out the DP that you need or a specific card that you need, Exodia. Alright, so now guys, we're going to be talking about what deck you should play in general. Like, what deck you should play. And that is a very, very, very subjective statement. I'm not going to sit here and let you guys know that you should be playing this or should be playing that. Let no player that plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Tell you as a player what you should and shouldn't play. That's all up to you. That's all up to your preference, and that's all up to what you like. Like, personally, I know Blackwings is not the strongest deck or the most powerful deck out there. Hashtag Blackwing deck profile coming soon. I feel comfortable in the build that I did make for Blackwings, that I'm going to be making the deck profile for you guys soon, so stay tuned for that. But play what you feel comfortable with. That's number one. The deck suggestions that I'm going to give you are straight up suggestions. So if anything, guys, it's okay if you guys don't agree, you don't like the deck I'm giving you guys right now. It's all right. But yes, play whatever makes you feel comfortable. Play whatever is the best deck you feel like is for you. Because believe it or not, sometimes deck like that, even though you're not going to see the best ratios right away, in the long haul, you'll probably be getting the best payoff out of all the other Yu-Gi-Oh players going straight to whatever deck they feel is meta. But yes, back to basic decks that you could be using. So deck number one that I would definitely recommend, even though it's my tongue is bubbling right now saying this deck, I cannot take away the fact that this deck is very strong, is consistent, the combos are self-explanatory, the setups are self-explanatory, and it's an easy deck overall to use. Thunder Dragons. Definitely use Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons is a very nice deck. It's a very powerful deck, and you're able to get to your plays very, very well. And this other deck that, again, boiling my tongue to say it, if you are coming from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, very, very strong and powerful decks that are kind of based off of the original iconic cards from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series onwards, I would definitely tell you a Blue Eyes deck as your starter deck is not a bad thing. Blue Eyes, the combos are ancient. The setups are there. The way you condition your opponent to bait him out, it's all there. When it comes to building Blue Eyes, yes, it's a generic deck, but the deck has evolved so much over time that personally, in my eyes, I never, to this day, faced similar Blue Eyes decks. Everybody runs their own unique and specific build to Blue Eyes. So if you want, Blue Eyes to me would be a very, very good beginner deck. Like, it's a very great deck to start off with, at least. And earning the cards, because I have to mention that as well, when it comes to also earning the cards for a particular deck, Blue Eyes is not that hard, because like I was saying in my previous tip video, when it comes down to it, most of the cards that you would need, look at this, most of the cards that you would need for a Blue Eyes deck, you can pretty much just dual Kaiba for it, and you're pretty much golden. You're golden. Let's look at some of Kaiba's deck profiles. Bones. Oh no. Seto Kaiba right here. So look at all of Kaiba's different deck profiles. You can instantly get 3 Blue Eyes. You can instantly get yourself Ancient Rules. Summoning Art. One of his decks has one. I think he has another deck that has multiple. You can get yourselves Lord of D. Well, no. I'm gonna tell you this right now. No Blue Eyes player will ever run Lord of D. It's just too slow of a card. But you guys get where I'm coming from. Where most of Kaiba's utility and most of the basic cards that you need for a, oh, here's the deck profile with Summon Arch 3. So most of the cards that you need to build like a basic Blue Eyes deck, all in Kaiba's deck profiles. Like, as long as you're consistently dueling Kaiba, the majority of the deck builds itself. It's probably some like duplicates that you're going to need to go to the card shop for is gonna be either Dragon Shrine or maybe like Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, of course. And if you are building like Chaos Max, you obviously Chaos Form and Chaos Max Dragon, or Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Those are some of the cards that you definitely need. So yeah. So boom, there's that. And I already got myself 3 of Blue Eyes Chaos, like Chaos Form, my fault. I already got myself 3 of them. So if I wanted to build Blue Eyes, I definitely can. So yeah, guys, Blue Eyes, definitely look into it. Spellcasters, specifically Dark Magician. Dark Magician to me is, like I said, same explanation for Blue Eyes I gave could carry over to Dark Magician. Dark Magician is a changing and morphing deck throughout the years. The combos, the plays, the setups, they're all already pre-made. They already exist. You as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, if you want to make your deck a little bit unique, all it takes is for you to master what the core essence of the deck is, and then whatever utility or power that you want to incorporate into the deck, then you could just easily implement whatever you feel would fit your play style into the deck. Easy. So these are just anime fans coming over from the anime to the game. Definitely look into some of the decks that some of these iconic character uses, because not all of them are bad. And also play test them as well to get yourself or give yourself a decent feel for the deck. And once that happens and you feel like this is something you might want to play or might want to try out, definitely do so. Like, that's all it really takes for you to build a deck that feels comfortable for you, is knowing what you want to do and how you want to do it as a player for yourself. Like, for instance, me, I'm a Blackwing player, so obviously that should give you some type of idea of the way I like to play in Yu-Gi-Oh, where I like seeing strong monsters on board. I like having options in my extra deck. I like seeing, I like gaining that draw power that Black Whirlwind gives me, because all of those things make me feel so much more powerful as a player. Yes, there are decks out there that could shut that stuff down. There's spell and trap cards that could shut that stuff down easy. But do I care about that all the time? No. If I go up against an evenly matched, if I have to go up against Meta Knights, if I get shut down by Sky Strikers, that is fine. As long as I'm playing something I like and I'm playing something that makes me happy, I am golden. Thumbs up to that. So yeah, I digress. So it's all about knowing what you want to play and how you want to play it. I feel like that's just such a blanket statement to the complexity of what it means to have a basic deck. But those are some of the decks that I really do feel like will fit some of you guys, depending on the type of Yu-Gi-Oh player you are and how fast you want to kind of play something that would make you feel like a strong player. Look into those. So let's go back through the list. I said Thunder Dragons, I said Blue Eyes, I said Dark Magician. Another really good deck that people really don't use all that much, I would definitely say look into Galaxy, because Galaxy is kind of like Blue Eyes in a sense, or Galaxy are a photon deck, because a Galaxy Photon deck, when it comes to the utility that decks like that has, it's very, very powerful. On top of, the deck is pretty self-explanatory within itself. Like, it's not a complicated deck to use. So, Photons. Also, you can even go into maybe, other great decks that you could possibly use. I would say like Spinal. Like, Spinal's a really good deck. Invoke is a really good deck. Obviously, decks like that, they're not going to come to you right away, because obviously most of those types of decks are very combo oriented. You need to know when exactly to spring your combo or activate a particular effect or a spell or trap card that the deck has. But for the most part, decks like that, when you do eventually learn it and you do get the IQ for it, is gonna be 1, 2, 3. Like, you're gonna be a freaking beast when it comes to just online gameplay and just playing in general with your friends. So yeah, those are just some of the decks I just wanted to throw out there just for you guys to start yourself off. But for the most part, I'm gonna let you guys or end off this part of this part of my recommendations with this. All it is keep on playing the game. Keep on playing your friends, keep on playing online. See what's being used out there. If you see a deck that you feel like best fits you, like, I'll give you guys a story right after I finish the statement, but if you feel like there's a deck out there that best fits you and you're interested in playing it, play it. Like, it doesn't hurt you, because at the end of the day, even though deck creation is very important, matchup is very important. And that's another tip video I'm going to say for later on, but matches is very important. You have to know the matchups. But I'll save that for later. Right now, like I said, if there's something that interests you in playing, try it out. Like, this is not set in stone. This is not like written on no prophecy tablet or anything like that. This is all just flexible information just to give you guys a start and a thinking point of where you guys want to kind of spearhead your future making decks, you know? So there's that. Also, the number one thing and the last thing I definitely want to bring to you guys' attention is the decks. Oh, I gotta move this. Is the decks that you guys use online. The best online starter deck. And personally, I would definitely say when it comes to the meta of Link Evolution, it's very, very negate summoning heavy. And I understand it, because Thunder Dragons rule online. You'll definitely run into a couple of Meta Knights deck. You'll definitely run into possibly an Invoker deck, or maybe you're running into maybe a zombie deck. Some of these decks are very, very, very powerful, and they're able to control the board very devastatingly. Especially since Chaos Max, even though they need one monster, that one monster will definitely help them win a duel without having to play much else. If your opponent is kind of like, he just want to completely obliterate you, of course he can go about summoning and just, getting more powerful monsters from his extra deck, but that's not necessarily needed. Once Chaos Max go on board, it pretty much spells out GG right there. But like I said, it all just depends on your opponent. Online decks, to me, the only way I was able to find success is that you need a good balance between being able to recycle your plays on top of being able to sustain a powerful board. Because it makes no sense to have a very strong board that could easily be destroyed by a card like Raigeki or Dark-Hole. That's the mentality I want every single one of you guys to always have when you're building your deck. If you make one of your strongest boards and it can easily be destroyed by a Raigeki or destroyed by a Dark-Hole, then you have to change up the formula or change up some of the monsters you have, because this format, it's all about sustainability, especially when you're going up against another like special summon heavy deck. It's all about who can sustain their board and who has the better board. It sucks. That's why people kind of play these negate heavy decks. It do suck kind of going against board versus board, but it kind of make the match a little bit more thrilling. That's why I like matches like that. But again, those are kind of like the two matchups that you're going to be consistently seeing in Link Evolution, with strong boards on top of heavy negate decks. Heavy negate decks aren't too bad if you don't utilize your extra deck all that much, or you don't need your extra deck for a W. But for the most part, the special summoning decks are the decks you obviously have to You obviously have to look out for, because those types of decks are very, very powerful and oppressing. Those types of deck will oppress you. And like I said, when you're building a deck for online, the best type of deck that you need to always think of is a deck that could sustain your board even if your opponent plays something along the lines of a Raigeki or a Dark-Hole. Because even though those cards aren't really used too much in the meta of Link Evolution online ranked, there's monsters that still do those types of things where they can wipe out the board, negate effects. So you have to be able to have a board strong enough to pretty much keep what you have on field intact and safe. So that's the number one thing. That's definitely number one. Decks I could recommend that can kind of do that is Thunder Dragons. Look into Thunder Dragons. I would also argue Shaddoll's is still good. People don't use Shaddoll's as much, but with cards like Super Polymerization, cards like Shaddol, a Fusion, still a thing. And also, I don't recommend building pure Shaddolls. Build a hybrid deck. So if you have like a hybrid deck of Shaddol, I feel like that deck would really be good in today's meta. Meta Knights is very oppressing. Whoa, that deck is super oppressing. Abyss Actors is a beautiful and amazing deck for that. Spirals is a very, very good deck for that as well. I would even argue this is a very simple deck, but the deck has so much great utility in this game that it really does function well with meta. But I would argue a great deck would probably be E-Heroes. And E-Heroes is definitely a deck I'm going to be building next in a couple of days. So there's also that. But yeah. So guys, let me know what you guys think. That's all the tips and tricks I have for you. I myself am a always and changing and just transforming Link Evolution player myself. Like, I'm always learning new tech. I'm always learning new things. There's always new stuff to learn. All it takes is for you to constantly play, continuously play people online, and just keep on dueling. Keep on deck testing, keep on changing cards, see what works, see what doesn't work, and that's truly the way you build your best starter deck. But hopefully these tips and tricks will help you guys for the people that's kind of just in this place or in this mindset where it's just like, I don't know what I want to play, I don't know what deck I should play, I don't know what deck I should choose. Don't worry about it. Hopefully the recommendations I gave you in this video will start you off somewhere, and the more you play, the more you'll see cool and fun decks that you just want to play yourself, alright? But I like to thank you guys for watching. You guys take care, and I hope you guys enjoyed this other tip video. Peace.